There are certain scenes in films which are unanimously decided as the crown-jewelling moments from their title, being widely appreciated and accepted as the point where it visually peaks. Visual being the keyword here, as in terms of other aspects that a film has to offer, there are or can be different scenarios who might succeed in those criterias. Let it be better writing or acting performance. But those scenes are where the lesser known and valued sectors of the filmmaking get some semblance of recognition. The camera person and the cinematographer. Similar sort of job which can be performed by multiple personnel. You know, behind the scenes people, doing all the heavy lifting just so the on-screen individuals can take all the fame and fortune. They, along with the writers, are the backbone of a great film, all while being outshined by the ones whose roles can be altered or played by other cast members without hampering the final product. Whereas these aforementioned posts are the most vital, or in the least hold a prominent place in being crucial to the output's quality. Messing with these levels has a higher chance of leading to the failure of that project. But enough of me praising or placing these job holders in a high pedestal. Directors, writers, or screenwriters will always hold a special place in my heart who are and should be given the utmost respect. With that being said, I'm choosing to focus on the cinematographer and the overarching camera group. The ones who are responsible to nail the overall atmosphere of a film. The vibe, if you may. And a style of shot that I really admire is the long shot, or as it is professionally called, a wide shot. However, there is a reason I chose the former option to be used in the title, as the word long has two meanings that can summarize what I wanted this video to focus on, while the alternative word, wide, is better for defining what type of shot it is, and not the situation to be discussed here. I'll expand on that later. For now, let's get to know what a long or a wide shot is. A frame with such angle is generally used to establish a scene, inviting the audience to explore every fragment of a landscape, allowing them to absorb everything that is happening or is about to happen in front of their screen, from settings to characters, giving it a scope to add layers of visual richness to its atmosphere. That is basically what wide shots are, and why are they so widely preferred by so many directors. It's an efficient tool that can be utilized in dozens of ways. And there are multiple variants of wide shots, but they aren't necessary for the topic in hand. So I'm not gonna delve deeper in them. But just for reference sake, here's a brief summary of those shots with examples. Pause it to read up on them. And now, I can peacefully advance to introduce a slight addition to these sort of shots, their duration. Hence, the word long being used here. The angle of it is wide, and its length is of longer extent. When combined, it leads to one of the most visually pleasing moments that a film can offer. Cinema at its finest, or where it shines in terms of its visual qualities, making up for moments which are incredibly pleasing to look at, witness, and absorb every ounce of what this medium has to offer. Still, while possessing such artistic quality, it is quite an audacious move in this day and age of films that are provided to us, being over-bloated with quick-paced action and oversaturated CGI sequences. With the passing time, people's attention span is decreasing and their dopamine requirements are increasing. They need constant stimulation to keep them interested in any media format. Short-form content are on the rise, who keep up with the demand of their need of something being thrown to their senses every waking hour without any break in between. People yearn for non-stop consumption of visual and verbal information, or else they'll get bored. And you don't want them to find your work being boring, because they will leave to consume what others have to offer. However, that exact scenario makes these particular parts pretty special, and the films who decide to go with such scenes are respectable action, but still willing to keep the artistic value of this medium intact. Another aspect about these segments which makes them risky is that they usually lack in terms of boasting comprehensible dialogue, not having any conversation being exchanged between characters, and are silent for majority of the times, not offering anything else other than visual goodness, which shouldn't be an issue, but for most of the time, people tend to look past or fast forward through them. But personally, I love those wide-angle shots to death. It's one of the best period of time to just take everything in. The plot, the characters who found themselves in that setting, but most importantly, the surrounding. The silence of it offers a tranquil-esque state that not only allows for a moment to digest everything that took place until that moment, but is incredibly useful when it comes to editing. And this is where the lengthy duration of it comes to play. I generally prefer using scenes from a film that are of longer stretch, as they provide bountiful of options and more freedom of usage. If luckily they are a wide-angle shot, then it's like one of the best clips that one can pick from. Infinitely better to perceive and easier to edit when compared to a rapid scene that changes frames in quick succession, which are a pain to organize in a video without it being an aching section to look at. Whereas the aforementioned form of shots are better in every knowable sector. Those hybrid scenes are pure cinematic excellence. There is hardly anything that a film can offer which has a chance to top that. Simply put, it's the visual greatness of moving pictures. So far, we have established that wide or long shots are comparatively better or have greater value in terms of utilization than zippy action sequences. But what about those CGI ones that I mentioned earlier? As some films do have scenes that are modified with such effects that happen to be a wide angle or long shot. But it's an extremely rare situation where they incite the same emotion inside me. They just don't do it for me. That can be because I was never that interested or poured myself into any major sci-fi franchises. Let it be good old classics like Star Wars or current blockbusters like MCU. As these sort of movies are the one who have the financial firepower to fund and film such scenes with competent CGI that looks and feels believable to a certain extent. It's not like those titles or scenes from them are inherently bad. They just seem less authentic in terms of being an actual wide-angle shot that can be truly fascinating to witness. It can't be placed in a similar position, as the magic in them is short-lasting or quickly disappears after you come to terms that they aren't real, being filmed inside a set and then altered in a screen. That's not to say I despise CGI or scenes that are revamped to give them a stylized look. I'm not trying to be an authentic freak or an elitist cinephile. My entire existence is improving footage that I sample. The problem comes with oversaturation of it. Much like how girls wearing makeup isn't an issue, it's the overusage of it. And it's pretty much the same when it comes to films. Still, everything doesn't need to be genuine all the time. And I'm fine with it, as there are instances where I enjoy specific scenes from titles that come under the sci-fi genre. They have distinct features and facets to them, giving them an edge to providing an otherworldly feel to their scenes. However, every title from that genre doesn't need to be of such manner. I wasn't going to name drop any individual film here, as I wanted the scenes to shine in this situation. They were, and still are, the fundamental focus of this video. With that being said, if I were to pick one source for the inspiration of this project, it would be Andrei Tarkovsky's 1979 sci-fi masterpiece, Stalker, a film with the peak atmospheric value. Its 160 minutes runtime is all about building up by visualizing its symbolic story through numerous long segmented scenes, capturing its vast and thought-provoking environment. It's a title that is shrouded in questions like, what does it mean? But I'm not interested in answering those queries or going to explain the magnificence of its long swords. I'm just gonna show you.